Hello, this is High Templar with the new episode of my Total War Warhammer DLC speculation. And it will be more of expansion or actually trilogy speculation because from the very beginning Creative Assembly was telling us that they will be making 3 games in Total War Warhammer, and I already covered that partially. However, the information has changed when I did this series, and you can clearly hear me saying that in my last videos when I was talking about the Chaos Demons. It just didn't make sense to make a game like that. So let me explain what I think right now, and that was pretty much what was confirmed already. I was not thinking that there will be a confirmation so soon after the Bretonnia release. I wanted to make some Bretonnian videos, so I'm only making it now. But as I mentioned before, I already pretty much said that in my Chaos Demons video, that the leaks that we got from the very beginning of the game were so far holding, but they stopped making sense. So let us consider what we know about the old world. There are several parts of it. It's pretty much like Earth, with some significant differences, but similar, let's just say. And this is another map with the names, and the old world that we know is pretty much this part. This is what we are getting with the Old World Edition. This part. We are not getting this, we are not getting the Land of the Dead, we are not getting Arabia, we are not getting even Albion, it doesn't exist. And certainly not anything here or here, which are very important parts of this world. So this was the map that you can see. This is the map that you can see on the loading screen. I've mentioned that already. There is lots of free space in here, and it makes sense to add parts of it with some DLCs. However, it would seem that we will not be getting DLCs. This was already confirmed after the Wood Elves. But we got official confirmation very recently. There are some articles about it, and we know that the development of the Warhammer 2 and 3, actually Warhammer 2, the next installment, is already ongoing. There is even historical Total War in pre-production. So what does it mean? If we would be getting those parts in the DLCs, getting that part of the map in the DLC with the Tomb Kings and Arabia, or getting this part with Ogres, or this part with Chaos Dwarfs, it makes sense, it adds a significant portion of the map. However, what we will be getting instead would be a full-on game that you can play as standalone, but you can also combine with Total War Warhammer that we have right now. So, and you can see where I'm going with this. It will be troublesome. Firstly, for the west part, for the new world, we only have that portion of the map. The map is not nearly as big as this one. Can it be played as a standalone game? Yes, it can. But there are some problems with that. It is smaller, for sure. That's one. This is your actual in-game map, so you can see how much space is not covered here. You can see that there is in fact a coastline right here, and there are actually no continents on this side yet. This is also another thing that might tell you which parts we will be getting first, but it's not necessarily this way. You have to understand that developers change their mind as they go. based on the reception, based on what fans say, based on the workload, based on what they believe is right. And that might be the situation that we get from the very beginning, and that they might think that they will be adding us these the Beastmen and the Oodles, and then they will be giving us the Tomb Kings. But later on, it was already revealed that this information that we are getting from the leaks is not current. It's already old, and since we know that we will be not getting Tomb Kings next, we will not get any more DLCs. We know that we will be getting full-on game. And will it be possible to play game on the campaign map that looks like that? Yes, it would. But it would be a bit weird. Wouldn't you agree? This map probably wouldn't not mean anything, and we will get a normal rectangular map somewhere here, basically, or rather here, but going further east than this. And you would probably be able to combine it with this map, but this will change. The loading screen will probably change. Alright, so this map probably no longer an option. Like I said, it's a big swath of terrain, but it would be a very weird standalone game if we would play on this map. Okay, so we would be getting 2 games, and one would be the West New World, and one will be the Darklands basically, and the Land of the Dead. Why? Because we know that we will be getting all the major factions in those trilogies, and each trilogy will be focusing on 4 races. And this is very crucial. Let me tell you what I think about the New World. In the New World we will be getting Dark Elves, which you can see right here. We will be getting High Elves from Utlan. We will be getting Lizards from Lustria, Lizardmen. And this is certain that we will get those guys. And there was even an interview with the Creative Assembly that is actually in Polish, and they told that they are already implementing the second part, and there was a model that Creative Assembly was working on that was identified by the people making an interview as a Dark Elf Hydra model. So it's possible that the next thing we will be getting will be the New World, and this will be three races that we will for sure get with it. Right? It makes sense. It makes sense. Only there are some problems with that. Well, it does have a map that could be possible to play as standalone game. It's smaller than the old world, but it's big enough. And there are those 3 races. The 4th race, many people say, would be the Clan Pestilence. And I do not completely agree with that for several reasons. I mean, I'm not sure. It's possible we will get Skaven in this west part expansion, whether it will be coming first as a second part or as a third part. And we know that Clan Pestilence of Skaven was present in Lustria and was fighting Lizardmen and made a huge problems for them. We know that for a fact. So what doesn't make sense here? Well, firstly, whenever we are getting a new faction, when we are getting a faction in the Total War Warhammer, we are getting it as a main faction. To clarify what I mean is, when we got the Empire, we got the Empire led by Karl Franz, not the Reichland. Reichsland is the actual province of the empire, and that's what we got, but Karl Franz faction is named the Empire and is led by Karl Franz. Same way as we have Bretonia led by Luen, and Dwarfs led by Thorgrim. They didn't specify it's Karak this or Karak that, it's Dwarfs. And only Belegar has Clan Angrund as a sub-faction. So for Skaven, Clan Pestilence would be called as a main Skaven faction if they would be in the New World. And that kinda doesn't make sense, because there are other clans that are very, very important, and the residence, the main capital for the Skaven is actually Skavenblight, which is in the Old World. And there is only single clan in the New World. That would mean no sub-factions. And you have to agree that's pretty odd to add a standalone game when you will only have one sub-faction of, say, Skaven fighting you, and if you will defeat them, there will be only 3 types of armies, 2 types of armies you will be facing, or 3 types of armies you will be facing. You will never face the main faction again. Like, you are fighting dwarves, you destroy dwarves, but you have also Karakadrak and other Clan Angrund and other sub-factions to destroy, and they are all dwarves. Even if you destroy all the vampire counts, you will still have the Musillion. So that is one problem. The other problem is that I wouldn't say the leader of the Clan Pestilence would be called a leader of the Skaven. Not that any one would, except for maybe Hornrad, and he was never really given a flesh presence. We have avatars in Hornrad Demons, but that's it. So I do not believe there will be Clan Pestilence there. I would believe there would be Chaos Demons. This is the supposed location of the Skavenblight, the capital for Skaven. And the Chaos Demons make more sense here. Firstly, you will have a Chaos faction that will be invading the lands of Lustria, and firstly the Dark Elves, then the rest of them. Probably also the High Elves. So it's more of a variety. Secondly, there will be separated by quite a huge chunk of map from the Chaos Warriors. So they will be not. If you combine the game, they will not be starting next to each other, which would be the case if they would be starting in the Darklands, northern Darklands, in the Chaos Fates, north of the Darklands. So I do believe they make more sense here. So the 4 main factions would be for sure Lizardmen, High Elves and Dark Elves, and probably the demons, the Chaos Demons. Now, like I said, this is all arguable. I have given you my thoughts about why it's not Skaven. Now, we do know that the next game we will be getting a pre-order bonus. The problems that I have with this being a standalone game is that there is not much really that can be done as a big DLC to this. Because there are no new races. Like, we got Beastmen, we got Chaos Warriors, And we got Wood Elves as a big DLCs for the Old World Edition. For the New World, we will be stuck with 4 compared to 7 in the Old World Edition, or 8 if you count Britannia. That is actually half of the game on the smaller map, which makes me think there will be stuff added by the Creative Assembly, because they have to. There is a lot of lore. It's not very specific for the other factions. We will be getting some Norscan tribes there until an expedition, most likely. We'll have to see, and we will see some vampires there, but there will also be not new and exclusive races. So yeah, I'm actually kind of interested what Creative Assembly will do to this game to make it as interesting as the Old World Edition. Or maybe they are counting that we will be getting a combined edition and they will not work on the second part as much as on the Old World. We'll have to wait and see. The other part will be Darklands and basically the Land of the Dead and everything that is east and slightly south to the Old World, behind the World Edge Mountains basically. And there are some things that would say this one we will be getting first. Firstly, there is already a land in the campaign map that you've seen. It's hidden, but it's there. Maybe it's fully formed. It will take a less time to actually, implement it. Secondly, the DLCs planned in a leak were firstly doing the, Tomb Kings and everything that's in the east. Also, it's worth mentioning that the Skaven was mentioned there also. Not in the expansion one, when we will be getting High Elves, Dark Elves, and High Elves, Dark Elves, and the Lizardmen, but in this part when we will be getting firstly mentioned Tomb Kings and secondly mentioned Skaven, and only then Ogres and Chaos Dwarves. So that would mean there was at least plans for developing this part of the game earlier. And if they stick to this plan, we will be getting Darklands sooner than a new land. Also, so this is even more of an argument that the Skaven will be getting in this Eastern expansion. And there is also one more thing, the cool factor. Obviously, Dark Elves, High Elves and Lizardmen has tremendous cool factor. But the most cool factor race in the Warhammer universe are Skaven, aside from the Wood Elves, are Skaven. So everybody's waiting for Skaven, and not really for the Chaos Dwarves, not really for the Ogres, and not really for the Tomb Kings. They have some fans, but I don't think they would consider buying a game for $60 or whatever it will be priced. If it will be very reasonably priced, then maybe. If there would be just those 3 factions and the Chaos Demons, it would make sense to put at least one very cool race, very often discussed race, in this Eastern expansion. It will also mean, because fans are very eager about Skaven, they were asking on the chat whenever there was a stream from the Creative Assembly, they were asking about Skaven. So the Creative Assembly is aware that we want them, and we want them now. So maybe we will get the Eastern expansion faster also because of that. Taking those things aside, there are the same problems with this game as with the Western part. As a standalone expansion, it would have to go slightly to the east. If it would not contain Arabia, just the lands of the dead, it would be pretty rectangular shape, much more than say in Shogun, so it's playable, very playable. The size of the map could be expanded, and it again could be very big. Not the same as we've seen on the loading screen, but would have to be bigger for a decent standalone game, but it's possible. And if we will be getting pre-order bonus, there is a possibility of getting some additional sub-faction, like I have actually an idea for the sub-faction here. We might be getting Hobgoblins as a sub-faction here. It will be much smaller pre-order bonus than the Chaos Warriors, but it will be something. There are some possibilities of getting some cool stuff here. Because of Dragon Island, because of many things. Desolation of Nagash and stuff. It's possible. Now, there are still only 4 main races here. If you count Skaven or Chaos Warriors, if you really don't like my theory about it. But you are getting Chaos Dwarfs, you are getting Ogres, and you are getting Tomb Kings. And the 4th race, which I think will be Skaven. That means 4 races, and again you cannot really add to that. The Old World Edition will still have 4 more options for the large factions with unique rosters. You can argue that you can have Hobgoblins, but Hobgoblins would be a sub-faction really of the Chaos Dwarfs of Davizar, Fire Dwarfs. And the same would be for sub-factions of the Ogres. So there is very limited DLC capabilities here, unless the Creative Assembly will go out of the Warhammer tabletop, maybe to some unofficial stuff, maybe to some more esoteric stuff, maybe they will create stuff on their own. I wouldn't mind that. I would really like for those games to be fleshed out. Also, I will be, buying them, so I will probably buy them no matter what Creative Assembly will do. So we will be getting those Chaos Dwarfs and the Tomb Kings and the Ogres. And that's pretty much it. That's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts about the expansions. And like I said, there are some pros and cons for getting each one first. I don't know which one. I don't know what pre-order bonus we will get. I don't really have a good idea about it. I don't really have a good guess about it. But I'm pretty sure I know which 4 races there will be there, and I know which parts of the map they will be taking place on, and maybe we'll be getting like Arabia. If you merge with the eastern part, you will also be getting Arabia, maybe, possibly. I don't know, we will have to see. Wait and see. Alright, so this is it. I hope you like it. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos. I'm doing Total War Warhammer, obviously, mechanic videos, DLC analysis and speculations, mod reviews, but also do Let's Plays in Total War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.